Check out my Teespring merchandise. Get 25% off with promo code BIGHITS. Link: Reddit stories, celebrity encounters. Mine was during the World Cup 2015. I work in a street food stall, and we were setting up for lunch service at West India Quays in London. It's about 10 a.m., and I look up to see the entire New Zealand squad out for a stroll. I called out jokingly, "Hey guys, good luck against Namibia tonight, they're savages." Next thing I know, 3 of them walk over and start asking what we are making, and Ben Franks says to me, "Are you going to any of the games?" "Nope, they are a little too expensive for me." The NZ versus Namibia match that night was £175 a pop, that's 2 days' salary. So he reaches into his breast pocket and gives me 2 tickets to the game, and was like, "Here you go," and wandered off. I was totally gobsmacked. Took a friend who was a NZ fan who had just had his kid come out hospital from a serious illness, and had spent a month just pure stressing. We had a great time, and I'll never forget it. This was when I was at Kelston Boys in 06 and Tana Umaga, Mills Mullina, and Jerry Collins visited whilst they were gathered in Auckland for a training camp with the All Blacks. Anyway, Jerry Collins was wandering around the school, talking to pupils and whatnot. When he walked out of one of the buildings and onto the main courtyard, there happened to be a bit of a basketball game going on, and it being lunch in the main hangout place. A lot of people were around. So as Jerry steps out of the building, the basketball rolls over his way. All eyes were on him as he picked it up and dribbled it a few meters, then lined up to take a shot. And he completely fucking missed it. Sure, missed. I had a training session with John Bentley once. Outside of training, he was absolutely relaxed, great to talk to, would crack jokes. In training, it was like he turned into Vinnie Jones from Snatch. Hard as fucking nails and totally ruthless. He had us do a sort of wrestling drill where one guy hugged the ball and the other tried to wrench it away from him. He made us all try, then he had to go. That's a classic. I once had a precarious encounter with Sir Richie McCaw at the local supermarket in Omarama, New Zealand. He was at the counter purchasing some milk. Meanwhile, I was hiding behind the magazine stand, cowering and shaking. Eventually, after he finished buying his groceries, he caught a glimpse of me behind the magazine stand. I had knocked over a can of sardines. His head spun around to investigate the source of the commotion. "By golly, I hope the media aren't after me again," he wondered. But alas, it was just a young lad looking up in awe of his sporting idol, however too ashamed to reveal his presence to the man himself. Richie acknowledged my 10-year-old self with an approving wink and nod of the head. "I see you there, you wee blighter. I see you. I want to buy you a drink for that. Ha 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 ha." Brilliant. I was out for my birthday a few years ago with my girlfriend. We were in a pub having a few drinks when in walks Sean O'Brien. I point him out to my girlfriend, who encourages me to go over to him and say hello, but I say no. He's out with friends, so I don't want to bother him. An hour or so later, he walks past us and my girlfriend taps him on the shoulder and tells him that I'm a big fan. He shakes my hand and says, "How are you, fella?" At this point, my brain has gone to mush. I say, word for word, "Jesus, you're Sean O'Brien. You're the best." He laughs awkwardly. What I said next still keeps me up at night. I've never met a celebrity before. I feel like I'm meeting Britney Spears. God only knows why Britney Spears came into my head. He gave me a strange look and just walked away. I have often seen Percy Montgomery on a night out. He sits in the VIP area and really isn't the friendliest of people, and he went through a rather rough patch. Kinda ruined my view on him. Met so many Springboks and Stormers players. I'm from Cape Town at festivals. Sia Khaleesi and Scarantabini are genuinely 2 of the nicest people I have met. Atsibeth is way bigger than he looks on the TV. Habana is just an absolute laugh when he is pissed. The Afrikaans players really know how to drink. That's all that needs to be said. Mornstein is cunt. But the funniest was that Francois Hougaard was passed out in between a couple parked cars with his pants around his ankles. He was probably relieving his bladder and the alcohol got the better of his balance. We have all been there. Kinda half slurred asking us to help get to him home, but we were all drunk. but he is a fucking Springbok and we made a plan. Landed up calling a family friend who lived in the area, explained the situation, and asked if she was fine with helping out. Again, it's a fucking Springbok, so she agreed because he didn't live too far away. Get him in the car, drive him home. This place looked way too modest for what I expected him to own, but he insisted this was the place. We carried him to the door like he was in the middle of me and my friend with his arms over our shoulders practically being deadweight. We got him to the door, but he had no keys and said they were in his car, which was back at the festival. We said we would go back to fetch them and he must wait for us. Landed up leaving him passed out on some random person's patio on holiday in Australia and ran into a few lines in McDonald's. Ben Youngs was lying on the counter where you pay, and Mike Phillips was literally unconscious being propped up by two bodyguards, who were saying no photos. Apparently they'd been carrying him for the past hour. About 2 years ago saw Willem Alberts, I think, and Bismarck in a nightclub in town, absolutely in bits, just huge men. Not the first time Mike Phillips has been unconscious in the company of a McDonald's bouncer. Probably won't be the last either. A good friend of mine worked in Kihu's pub in Dublin when all the Lions went there for a piss-up. Phillips kept coming behind the bar to pour his pints. Pac fell down the stairs and jumped up yelling, "Didn't even spill my pint. I'll see you, and raise you." Around 2003, my son was diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome. One day not long after that I was at work, and the phone rang. I picked it up. A woman said, "Hi, I'm Fiona Lomu. My husband Jonah will be in town tomorrow. We heard your son has a kidney disease and we were wondering if you guys would like to catch up at our hotel and hang out for a bit with Jonah." So, my son was 5 or 6, and had no idea who Jonah was, but he could see how excited I was, and he was curious. So, we went to the hotel at the appointed time, and across the lobby walks Jonah. We hung out in his room, talked about dialysis, health, life challenges, and also politics, the health system. He was very chilled, very genuine, without a hint of ego, and absolutely humble, just super approachable. It felt 100% like he was there to support us. It was deeply touching, and I've never forgotten it. I don't mind admitting that I cried when I heard he died. I used to see Jonah at the dialysis unit sometimes. I find those places depressing anyway, but it was always extra sad to see him in there. He was always super nice and chatted with anyone who wanted to talk to him. Jonah was that kind of guy. That's a great story that only increased my respect for the man. Thank you. I don't mind admitting that I'm crying now.
Stay dripped to the feet, night ticks on fleet. Fuck with it, fuck me, fuck shorty, fall free. Ain't no killers, I'm just killing all these beats. Ain't no killers, I'm just killing all these beats. Stay dripped to the feet, night ticks on fleet. Fuck with it, fuck me, fuck shorty, fall free. Ain't no killers, I'm just killing all these beats.